What's going on, everybody? It's CryptoVision here, back again with another crypto market deep dive. Today's video, we're going to be checking out XRP. Some say the king of the alts. Just another shout out, a reminder, the Discord is live. It is free. If you're interested, it's in the link in the description. I also offer a paid Patreon membership where we're doing deep dives on Fridays, Profit Lab series, and also you'd be understanding that, hey, the trading view indicator, the signal setups are popping off right now. They're firing like crazy. I think we're trying to bottom. We're gonna take a look at XRP. We're gonna kind of see what XRP is doing on the weekly, on the daily, on the 4-hour. Typically, whatever XRP does, the market likes to do. So, as always, if you like today's video, hit that like button, subscribe for more. Let's get into it. So we got XRP here on the weekly. If you've noticed, some of the levels might be different. I transferred everything over from the Coinbase chart to the crypto chart just because I wanted the history, more price action history. I don't know why. I think Coinbase, it stops like right around here. So I needed more. I just needed more information. So what we got here is we got this falling wedge. We got this falling wedge pattern. Nothing really has changed. Nothing really has changed. If we're looking, when we do look at the daily, the 4-hour, there is some scenarios that are playing out that we might get another low. Just because of what's going on price action. I know overall what we've discussed is, you have this 1, 2, okay? You have this 3, you have this ABC 3, you have this 4, you have this 5. Okay, there's no doubt we have 5 waves to the downside right now. Okay, we are going to look at the oversold territory that XRP is in. It's mind blowing that how oversold this asset is, how it's gotten so oversold in such a short period of time, and then how bearish people are right now at the lows. And calling for I've heard 50-cent, 70-cent price targets. I don't know about that. That's kind of low. Those are some pretty low targets, right? It's when we get up to the upside, because I do think I think crypto is going to flip. I do, and I think it's going to be quick. When we're hitting those $4, $5, people are going to start calling for $10, $12, $14, $15. Those are the kind of people we have to be aware of because, calling for extremely low lows at the low and calling for extremely high highs at the highs typically, to me, signals, okay, I might need to take some off the table because people are getting outlandishly bullish. All right. As always, I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. That's just the way I operate. So in terms of the weekly chart though, you're finding support right at that 200-week EMA. Just because I say we're going to get lower prices doesn't mean we have to close below. Right? We've seen these crazy wicks. I've actually included some of the fake outs at this point, right? We got this big fake out to the upside, we got this big fake out to the downside. This, obviously, we all know about the October 10th fiasco that happened. It's I'm never gonna live it down. I'm never gonna live it down. So, at the very end of the video, also if you're interested, I'm gonna be checking out some Bitcoin dominance and the DXY as well. So, just want to give that a shout out. So, in terms of XRP and whether or not we're oversold or not, XRP is the most oversold it has been since, the blue wave is touching right there. Since bear market, I got a little bit lower at the very, very, very bottom of a bear market low, and then it went sideways for about, a year or two. Okay. 2022 all the way to 2024, 2 years. 2 years. It went sideways for 2 years. Other than that, this is the most oversold it's ever been. Right? This is the most oversold it's ever been. We've just down through here, if we're looking at the RSI now, the RSI has gotten more oversold as well as at those bear market lows. And, based on whether or not this is still valid, everything is still valid for what we think is going on. I do need to add the overall wave count. MACD looks very similar to something like this, if I'm being honest. Like this part of the MACD looks very similar to this part of the MACD, right? Where you got this sell-off, you got the bullish momentum kind of building, which led to a bigger sell-off, bullish momentum building, which led to a bigger sell-off. And now you're kind of using that to possibly cross, right? Possibly cross. The big difference is, there's an obvious big difference, is the MACD has crossed down below the zero. So this is going to need an extraordinary effort, which, that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting something to catch the masses off guard. Most people think that crypto is dead. I mean, it's not just crypto. Most people are just they're very bearish on the entire economy, the macro outlook, right? We're about to enter a recession. Stocks are down. Housing markets absolutely unaffordable. There is a lot of bad things that are happening, but these are the birthing pains that when you come out of a recession, this is what happens, right? You don't just it's not right. Let's just talk about the housing crisis real quick. It's not just you arrive at a housing crisis. It builds up to a housing crisis through years and years and years and years. And now this is the forefront of, okay, your interest rates are being lowered. That's great. Does that affect housing prices? Not necessarily until we have some kind of structure, some kind of bill, something that allows the BlackRocks of the world, whatever company that is buying up houses, to be limited, right? Because now houses are looked at as straight up investment properties. It's not so much for the first time homeowner. It's not about the American dream. It's more, how can I make the most money buying this many X amount of houses and selling for this? So until that gets fixed, that's going to kind of be an issue. But the housing market has needed a correction for a very long time. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. It needed to be corrected, but it doesn't mean that the entire economy is going to collapse. I do believe that the housing market is in a correction. It's been in a correction. As the inflation drops, which I'm seeing through Trueflation. If you're on the Discord, you know this. I'm always posting about Trueflation. The next reading is coming up on Friday. So we're going to see what CPI comes in at. It's typically delayed. We will see what it comes in at. Trueflation right now is right around 1%. It was under 1% for a little bit. It kind of rose a little bit. So it's pretty much tapered off. I don't think it's gonna keep tanking anymore. I don't think it's gonna skyrocket. I think it's gonna stay, below 1.5% and above 1%. So somewhere in between there, which is great. And so, but as we all know, the government takes forever to do anything. And so I use the analogy of the DMV. Right, you get to the DMV, it's hurry up and wait. And that's kind of what's going on right now with the Fed. It's, hurry up, get all your statistics, get everything to us, and then you're going to wait for us to slowly, bog through all of the data and hold up the economy, which I do think the Fed is doing right now. I do think the Fed is holding up the economy for political reasons and things of that nature, pardon me, with obvious reasonings for loosening. But in terms of the liquidity, the Fed is still injecting liquidity. They're doing it, by golly, $8 to $20 billion at a time. I think they're injecting $16 billion on Thursday, maybe Wednesday, this week sometime. I don't know the exact date, but they are injecting liquidity. They're doing it reluctantly, but overall that does play a factor in the DXY, which I'm going to get into. In terms of XRP, right, XRP is a risk on asset, but I do think it has value. I think XRP and XLM, Swift, there's a couple really big coins that have actual value for the world to use, for the the one world order to use, the worldwide system, right, to track everything, to audit everything. So right now it's in the infant stage. I do think it's going to be used for, power, and used for, kind of suppressing the masses and making sure that the rich stay rich and the poor stay poor. I do believe that in the future. But right now it's in the infancy stage. The reason why I think the rich will stay rich is because I think they're buying it I think they're just going to keep buying it. I think they're buying it right now. I think they're buying the high valued assets in crypto, and I don't think they're going to stop because price has went down a little bit in a short period of time. I think long term crypto is going to be something that is it's not going anywhere. Right? So picking the right things, investing in the right projects, to me is is what I'm trying to do. But I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. As far as I've talked about the most oversold conditions of XRP, and we're still right? You're still in a possible, I do think it is, you know, moving through like this. Where are you? I don't know why I'm singing that song. So you have a 1, 2. You almost have like your 3, your 4, and your 5. I didn't put the targets up through there. I probably need to. I'll do that. I'll do that in the next video, or possibly possibly today. ABC, something like that. So you have that 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have your ABC. So everything is still intact. You still need that 5th wave up. All right, I do think, you know, when you look at charts like this, oh, you know, your EMAs are crossing down below on the daily. Your 800 EMA, you're down below your 800 EMA. Everything's crossing down below. The last time that happened was, you know, over through here, whatever. I don't think crypto's in the same. I don't think it's in the same stage. Right. First of all, I don't even think this was a bull market. I think it was just part of a correction. Yeah, part of a correction. Not really a bull market. This through here is, you know, this has been a bull market right through here, and this is part of a correction. I think this is part of a correction. I think that's just I think that's your 4th wave correction, and you're getting lined up. You're getting ready for your 5th wave, and then you can start on your, you know, then you can start on your A, right? Then you can start on like your A, B, and then you come back down for a C, making higher lows. You still make higher lows, right? You still make higher lows, but you know, that's I think that's what it's going to take, and then you go up again. Right? I think it needs one more wave up, because overall, right, if you do have a 1, 2, okay, you have an A, B, C, so you have a 1, 2, 3. So you're going to need a big 4th wave move down. So that next correction, the next, right, people keep saying, oh, we're entering a bear market, we're entering a bear market. We're not entering a bear market yet. We've been in a correction. You know, you can even say that, I mean, realistically, you could say, you know, you're in a, you know, there's a possibility of this 1, 2. You have this A, B, C for your 3rd. You come down for your 4th, and you're coming up for your 5th. Or it's, you know, this is your A, B, C of your 3rd. So you have your 3rd, you have your A, B, C, and then you're going to come up for that last portion of that 5th. So either way, I'm expecting a retracement. I'm expecting something to, you know, at least get up to some higher levels. Where are some of these levels? So if we do take the 2nd wave low, 3rd wave high, we're not going to use the wave B high. We're going to use that high. Okay, so we're looking at prices up through here. Right? This is where I'm looking for prices to get up to for XRP. Doesn't mean I have to get up here. These are just targets. These are just my ideas, right? It doesn't have to do any of this. All the way to the 2. Right, if it gets above the 2, I'd be surprised. If it's a truncated 5th, that'd be kind of disappointing, but you know, I mean, you could get all the way up to your 2618, that $9 range. That's the max I expect. That's about the max. I'm not even going to put that on there, but that's about the max I would expect, right, for this move. You know, somewhere up through here. Oh gosh, dang it. Somewhere through here. I'll just put it right up through there. I'll put it up on the median. If we're looking at, I'm going to keep this on the weekly, just so it doesn't get all cluttered. Right, and this can stay. This can move to the daily for sure. Cool. Because we're going to go look at what's going on the daily chart, okay? In terms of, you know, what we're in right now and what we're going to do. So, you know, on this last leg, we need 5 waves down, right? We need 5 waves down. And what we're looking at through here is down through, so you definitely have like this 1, 2. You almost have like this A, B, and like your C wave. So you're coming down through here, possibly your C wave of your 3rd. You come up for your 4th. Your 4th could even be through here as well. So 3rd, 4th. And you're coming up for your 5th. right? You've hit your fifth already. Makes sense, right? So you have, like your 1, 2, 1, 2. You have like your A, B, C for your third. You come up for your fourth, and then you're down for your fifth. Okay, that makes sense. You have like a 1, 2, A, B, C, 3, 4, 5. Or, this last leg isn't complete. This leg of your fifth leg isn't complete. Either we can invert this. You have a 1, 2. This could really be, a third wave through here. You have like a B, C, 3. You're coming down for a fourth, and then you still need a fifth. That's on the table as well. That's on the table as well until you break and close above this monthly open. You really need to get above this monthly open. Close, something like that. Right now, there's room to be desired. There's room to be desired if we take this 1, 2 setup. Let's take this 1, 2 setup. This 2618 is $1.14. That's exactly where it got to. I mean, it is the 2618. So, it's just it's difficult to say. Right, it's difficult to say. This has been a sell-off, to say the least. This is from January 6th all the way to February 6th, so a month of sell-off. All right, this has completed the 2618, extension, and realistically, you need. Where is this at? I mean, yeah. It's right around that monthly open. That one's $1.61. I'm going to say $1.63 just to be sure, right? But this does look corrective. It does look corrective. Like you got your A, you got your B, and like you come down for a C. That's why there's a lot of possibility of going to the downside still, until you really close down below through here. That gives us an opportunity. Right, I mean, you do have a 3-wave move down. So this 800 EMA, this $1.76 is also pretty key. So I am gonna. Oh, whoa! Hold up. Yeah, we can afford uno más. Right through there. I do like that right there, because that means you're closing down through here now. Let me get rid of the fib. So it's a lot more clear. Okay. This monthly open, yes, I do like the monthly open, but I would like a close above the 180, and then we can start moving. The one thing is this monthly open will kind of determine what we're doing for a while. If we can't, you see this wick, if we can't even sustain anything below this monthly open or above, if we actually look at it right side up, then it just looks like a 3-wave move. And then it looks like you want another 3-wave move back down. Right, so you almost have your 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you come back down for your 5th, and then you're done. But until then, it's still possible. Let's take this what's going on right here, because it is on the daily. We'll get into the 4-hour for sure. But I mean, you're staying above your 382. That's what you want to do. You want to stay above your 382 and for continuation. I mean, all of this, even if you come down to your 618, it could be a type of flat pattern where you have this so you have an A, B, C, and then you can move up. All right, market makers are being extremely difficult right now, because it is, when you do look at the macro, when you do look at the wave count, there you have 5 waves down. You can make an argument for 5 waves down for a completed 4th wave, right? You have a beautiful 3-wave move. All right, 3-wave move. You have a 3-wave move. Beautiful 3-wave move. Taking out lows, wrecking retail, killing sentiment. But until until, like I said, this monthly open, closing above this monthly open will be a big deal. Like closing a daily, closing the weekly, getting above this monthly open is a big deal. And then you can start possibly moving up. Let's go ahead and look at there probably was a green dot. We can move this to the weekly. Everything's going to be a little bit, oh, dang it. There we go. Super. I mean, you just been oversold. It doesn't matter too much on the daily. It doesn't, if I'm being honest. Your MACD, that looks solid, but again, it's a laggard indicator. I don't like the fact that you've come up on the Fu Manchu. You've come up all the way to the 100 level. You have no momentum. Both your stochastics look like they're pointing down. It kind of just looks something like this, if I'm being honest. It does. It looks something just like this, where you come up and then boom, just slam down. So that's kind of what it looks like right now. I can't just, I'm bullish long term. I'm bullish on crypto. I'm bullish on, I do believe that we've been in a correction and we're going to see some higher prices. But right now, I can't. I'm leaning towards the possibility of one more down. I am, until we close above this 163 level, 163 and really 180. Once we close above 180, then it's okay. We got something going on. Until then, kind of just looks like a setup for a trap to be flushed to the downside. I don't know who they're really flushing out. I really don't know. I mean, liquidity heat maps, if you go check those out, there's billions of dollars to the short. So I don't know what they're actually doing, right? I know people keep saying, well, liquidity, but it takes the same amount of liquidity when you're shorting assets. Money is being poured in. It's just on the opposite side. So people who cry the liquidity claim, I think they're biased. I think they're bearish. I think they've either entered shorts, they're in a short position, but that is liquidity. And short positions are liquidity, and they typically fuel reversals, very quick reversals when you have short squeezes. So, I don't really want to hear about liquidity. It can flip in the instant, especially when you have the USDT chart almost. I mean, it looks super toppy, very toppy, very, very, very toppy. Not coffee, but toppy. In terms of what we got right now, we do have, we see the thing that I'm struggling with right now is, if this is a 1, 2, A, B, C, right? You've already closed down below your wave 1 termination point, so it's kind of, it doesn't look the greatest. If you invert this looks bearish, right? When you have a huge impulse down like that, when you have 3 waves to the down and you go sideways, it just looks bearish. It looks bearish, right? We come like this, it looks bearish. It looks like it wants to go down. It does. And market makers, it's very tricky, right? This is very tricky. It almost looks like you have an A, you have a B, you have a C, you've impulsed, you're waiting, and then you're going to do that. Right? That's what it looks like to me. Right? That's what it looks like to me. Pardon me. I need to get a sip of coffee. All right. We can do this, and I'll come back and revisit. Something like that. We'll keep this on the 4-hour. And something like up through here. It's like a range. I do, just for closing range, I do want to see like the close. Boom, 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 boom. Do, 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 do. Okay. Something like that. Okay, it does look, it's a bearish formation forming, so I can't ignore it. I won't ignore it. You've come down, you bounced. What do we do? What do we do up through here? It's just another thing where, market makers, they have the idea where, people want to be in crypto, and I don't think they're reading the room right. I don't think people are getting into crypto. But when we do look at a correction, this does look corrective. It looks like 3 up. Are we getting 3 back down? That would be kind of ugly, right? That would be ugly. That that would lend itself to a head and shoulders, right? You have a head, you have a left shoulder, you have a head, you have a right shoulder. You break down, take out these lows, find a new low, possibly. Where could we actually go to? Right, where could we actually go to? What, 97 cents? There we go. And there we go. Okay, good to go. Okay, so there we go for XRP. I do want to check out just the 10-day to see what's going on the 10-day chart. No green dot yet. Nothing through there. Extreme bearish divergence up through here. Then you got this sell-off like crazy. 4 days printing a green dot. Has it really meant anything? No, it has not. No, it has not. That's why we look at larger time frames. Weekly, 10-day. 3-day, 4-day, that's when you start looking at maybe entering, right? You maybe like, you have a green dot on the weekly, and then you're hopping into the dailies and you're looking for green dots, and you're hopping into the 2-day, the 12-hour. But none of these, if I'm being honest, it just doesn't look ready yet, which is kind of disappointing with the fact that we've had probably 15 to 20 bottoming signals flash, 20, and not just XRP. I'm talking about crypto in general. Lot of red on the charts today. Or AI, talked about Or AI in the Discord. So if you're interested in AR, this too. Wow. ARC, talked about this. This is just the USDT version on the, I think I have it on my macro chart. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's right through here. So, but let's get into the DXY real quick. It's still hovering right below where I do want it to close. I really want to see it close below 97. We've had this red dot. It does look, just because you have the wave down here and just because you get a green dot doesn't mean it's an instant reversal, but it does look like it wants to reverse. You do have that 800 EMA down at the 92. So I think if you close down below 97, I think we're targeting 92. That's what I believe. So we do want this. We just want the dollar to collapse. It's fraudulent. The Federal Reserve is fraudulent. They print money out of thin air and charge interest on it. It's a system that keeps people enslaved to interest and to not own anything and to be happy, right? If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, right? There's some corrupt people out there that want to keep, the masses working their 9-to-5s, working and saving money that is intrinsically worthless, because it's, if you're saving something that, has, there's no limitation how much money can be printed. So it's not something that is intrinsically valuable like gold or silver or even Bitcoin, right? Where there's a limit to it. There's only a certain amount of quantity that will ever be produced. That's where you get that value, not for something that's printed out of thin air and told to the people to use because that's the currency of the set country. So we're looking for that close down through here. We're right up on that 97.055. You're pretty much there, pretty much on that 97. Ready to break down. You are below your moving average. You are below the zero. It does look like you kind of want to, you have this you kind of have this like this impulse. If we're looking at this impulse through here, right? You do have an impulse through here. You have like this, 3 move up. Maybe you get a 3 move back down, and then you move up. Okay, and then you move up. It kind of looks like you have a you have this A, B, C. Okay, so maybe the C wave comes down a little bit more, right? Takes that out, so then you have a 3-wave move. You have a 3-wave move, and then you come up for 3 waves, or come down, I'm sorry, for 3 waves. somewhere in between the 95 and 92 level. It doesn't move as drastic as, because it's not a one-to-one value of, okay, the dollar is now worth $100 is now worth $97. It's not. This is measured against inflation, precious metals, other world currencies, things of that nature. So last but not least, Bitcoin dominance. We've printed up this chart. We've been following Bitcoin dominance. I have some more detailed levels and things like that for the Friday deep dives. But this is, if you're looking for just the gist of it, right? You've broken down below. You're still trying to close below the 100-week EMA. That's what you're really trying to close down below, right? You've had that red dot down below the moving average. MACD looks pretty bearish. So, pardon me. Overall, that's what I got for today's video. Tomorrow's video, we're going to be doing a macro overview on everything. So if you're interested in that, make sure to stay tuned. Hit that like button, subscribe for more. If you enjoyed today's video, leave a comment. The good, the bad, the ugly. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. As always, I thank you for stopping by. I thank you for your support. I know it's been a rough couple weeks. Patience is the key, in my opinion, in investing, and what I've done and experiences. Just being patient, not trying to force anything, and not having a time frame of, okay, it has to happen by this date, this date, this date. Buying low, selling high, staying disciplined. As always, take it easy. Peace.